I feel like the seat is very hot right now, but that could be the fart that I just let out. It's very slow. I let it out slow so you couldn't hear.
Are you ever worried about your pads like spontaneously combusting?
All the time.
Yeah.
No, I mean, they wouldn't combust, but like...
They might smolder.
No.
Well, when you have a bag of greasy rags at like a restaurant, they can just light on fire by themselves. I think that's your farty pads.
How greasy do you think my farts are?
Apparently insane. You were talking about your IBS last night too.
Oh, I talk about that all the time. It's my favorite topic.
You guys, wait for the camera.
It's Thanksgiving dinner, and I'm just... Oh, it's not on?
Well, it is, but we haven't done our intro yet.
Oh, well,
Clearly, you've never done a podcast. My
She
God.
has never
so
done a podcast.
you guys just lead the way.
Okay. Hi, welcome to Small Town Big Gays.
Yay.
Too much.
Woo!
You don't talk yet.
Okay.
We are the gays who are too big for how small of a town this is. I'm Chance. I'm joined by two special guests this evening. Would you like to introduce yourself?
I would love to. Hi, I'm Khloe Wold. Today, we are joined by someone that's in our lives. A very special guest. One of my best friends, my drag daughter, Yep, that's what I would like to say. It's Amber Hudson.
Hi, everyone. I know I love how I'm always one of your best friends and just never your best friend, but it's okay.
Because I have multiple best friends. We've talked about this.
Well, I know. I'm still plotting to kill Shelly, and then we'll see who else I have to kill.
Do I
And
fall
maybe I'll
into
get the
this
top
yet?
spot.
Or
You're not in your top 8.
No.
Yeah.
Well, he's in my top 8.
Top 8, maybe not top
are you
4.
gonna? So you're not gonna? You're only gonna murder the top 4, not the full top 8.
We'll see.
Okay.
We'll see how it goes.
All right.
We'll see where I line up. We'll see if she catches me.
No, I won't be chasing anyone. Ever. Yeah, so we have Amber here with us today. We said we were going to do guests, and now we are doing it,
So
aren't
now
we, Chance?
everyone can shut the fuck up. No, I'm kidding.
Am I everyone?
You are everyone.
Yeah.
Amber is our one
I
listener.
mean, people were asking me last night how I got to be the first guest, and I just said that I just bullied them into letting me do it. I just kept asking.
Just
So,
relentless.
Yep.
Closed mouths don't get fed, and closed holes don't get bread.
Amen, sister.
I think it was Florence Pugh who said that.
Florence Pugh.
Florence Henderson.
Sure. I think
Of
I
the
got
Brady
my
Bunch?
I think I got my Florence.
Yeah, so we are just going to get to know Amber a little bit and get her perspective of what it was like growing up in a small town as a very, very homosexual child.
Yeah.
I am the largest of homosexuals, and I know.
And Amber will definitely give us all of her opinions and let us know where she stands, and it's going to be a fun time for sure.
I'm going to need my drink for this, I think.
Yeah.
I think that's what this podcast has been missing, which is alcohol. I think you guys get drunk more often.
Like
on the
early
podcast.
seasons of RuPaul's Drag Race
Yeah.
where they would all get hammered during Untucked.
We could do that.
Yeah, you guys should do like shot roulette sometimes.
That
I've
could be
always said
fun.
when I'm listening to this podcast that if you want to play a drinking game while listening, every time Khloe says, "This might be a controversial opinion," you take a shot and you might be deid by the end.
Well, this
You
is
love
a,
to
this
say
is
that
a controversial opinion.
Every time Khloe has an opinion, it's controversial.
Yeah,
It is.
it is. You know, I think it just comes from the era of worrying about being canceled all the time. You
I
know?
know. You just have to not worry about it.
Amber, what's your most cancelable opinion?
You shared it last week.
For the record, I said you did it in a good way, so you shouldn't be canceled for that.
Yeah.
But you hate hairy drag queens.
I don't hate hairy drag. I always like to say, like, drag is an art form, just like many other art forms. So for music to be, for instance, I don't particularly like country music. I don't necessarily listen to country music, but there's a few country songs I like. So same thing goes for hairy drag queens. I like some of it, but not particularly for me, but that doesn't mean it's not a respectable art form and a respectable talent.
Is there anyone you want to specifically call out at all?
Yeah. Khloe Wold. Way too hairy.
Oh, okay. Well,
That's why she's wearing gloves today, so you can't see the arm hair.
the knuckle hair more than
The
anything,
knuckle hair,
honestly.
for sure.
Yeah.
I think I missed a patch, like right here.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I shaved.
Just kidding. Yeah. How was your week, Chance?
Mine was great.
Yeah.
What did I do? Not much. What did you do?
What did I do? Worked a lot. I had drag bingo on Thursday. We had a drag show last night, and then we are fresh off another drag brunch this morning. So,
Which is why we are being graced by both of your presence in full drag.
in full drag, we're just living it up this week. Lots of drag.
And it is
so much cross-dressing, so little time.
So little time. How about you, Amber? How was your week?
My week was very good. I was very busy at the salon. I like Khloe, a stylist, not a business owner, but
Well, you own your own business.
I guess
Yourself.
I manage myself, which can be very challenging at times. You know, I'm not a very good employee.
Not a job I'd want.
Yes, no. I had brunch yesterday at Lush Lounge and Theater, and then we did the show last night and the brunch today. So it's been a very busy weekend.
Yeah.
My poor skin is just waiting for a shower and a sleep. But
That'll
yeah,
come
it was
tonight.
great.
Good.
Thank you to everyone who came out to all of our shows.
Yeah.
We love having you. We love seeing you.
It was lovely, gal.
Today is Mother's Day. I'd like to just say that because I'm here with my drag mother, my icon of life. I like her more than my actual mother, so I think
Yeah, how is your relationship with your mother?
Let's just dive
get
in.
into it.
Let's just dive in. Okay.
Tell us about growing up as a little queer boy. Actually, I like know a good chunk of your story, but I feel like I don't know. I can't always remember how it all goes, but you moved around a little bit when you were a kid, and
I don't know shit about you, so
yeah,
Tell
well,
me
neither do our
everything.
listeners. So let's talk about it.
Dive right into this large gay and a large family.
Yeah, Amber is very tall, so she is a large gay.
I am large. I'm very tall and very large in other places.
Wow,
I'm talking about my hands.
Yep. Crossy hands.
So my parents met at Pensacola Christian College in Pensacola, Florida, obviously, which is, if you don't know, is like probably one of the most conservative religious institutions in the United States, like the strictest of strict. So they met there and married, and they lived there in Florida for I don't know how long, but I was born there. But we moved up to the Midwest when I was 4, probably. We lived in Minnesota for a bit and then eventually relocated to Eau Claire, which is a whole other story. My dad moved to Minnesota to actually be a pastor at a church until he got fired from that church. And then we lived in the parsonage, which is the home owned by the church, for the pastor to live in. So when you got fired, they give you like a 30-day notice. And it's like a really small town, like 2,000 people. So I was too young to realize it, but now looking back, we were basically run out of that town with pitchforks. The whole town hated my dad, so we had to pack up our shit and leave and cut all ties with everybody there. It was very awkward for them.
can I ask why? And I'll cut it out if you don't want to.
Oh no, I'll share anything. It's really not that juicy. Like there was a member of the church who had an affair, and my dad's decision was to kick him out of the church and not allow him to come there anymore. And the rest of the congregation did not agree with that decision. So they all collectively, I don't know if they had like a meeting. I was 4, so I don't really know what happened, but I think they had a collective meeting where they all the members decided that they were going to find a new pastor and he had to leave.
So your dad was too conservative for like the conservative.
He was too
church.
conservative for the Baptist church
Damn.
in this tiny town. Yes. So that's just like the basis of my life growing up. That's how strict my dad was. He didn't even have enough Christian love to to give to a poor man who just wanted to fuck another bitch on the side.
How dare him?
I don't know what the affair was. It could have been a gay affair. Probably was a gay affair. He probably was sucking dick in the rest stop.
You should just start telling people that.
I
if it's
will
not
actually.
true.
I'm gonna go back to that town and tell everybody.
In this outfit, be like, "Hello, it's me."
Hello, dearie.
Remember that queer affair that ran us out of town?
Yeah, he was probably giving Blumpkins at the CVS.
Okay.
3rd episode in a row we're mentioning Blumpkins and Miss Doubtfire.
I've had it.
Yeah. If you are playing a drinking game at home, every time we say Blumpkin, take a shot.
Okay, so then from there you moved to Eau Claire?
Yes, we moved to Eau
What
Claire.
brought you to Eau Claire specifically?
You know, churches. My dad was very specific about where he wanted to move, where he found a good church to like join. He did not work at the church.
Okay.
His track record wasn't very good, so no one was going to hire him. He didn't have any references. Mind you, my dad did go to college. What is they call it when you go to church to be a pastor?
Seminary.
He did go to seminary. And my mom's major was home economics.
Good for her.
So that is a major at this university. So she was training to be a stay-at-home mom.
Is it accredited? I'm going to guess no.
I would guess that not. Okay. Probably not. My sister, Siren, who had enrolled there actually, and she ended up dropping out like a week before classes were going to start.
Yeah.
Thank God, because she did not need to go to that school. That would have just destroyed her life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is not a safe place for anyone really, but especially anyone who's different. What was the question? Oh, Eau Claire. I was like, where were we? So we moved to Eau Claire to join Eau Claire Gospel Center on Cameron Street. You know, the big gray church.
I do. I used to live by it. Yeah.
Yeah. So we moved there specifically. My dad got a job at a car dealership, which is boring as hell, but barely paid the bills.
Yeah.
But yes, if I have 7 siblings, my parents didn't believe in birth control, so
Clearly.
they just popped them out left and right and center.
Yeah.
We were running amok, running everywhere.
What number are you?
I'm number 4.
And Siren is 2.
If you had to pick one of your siblings to kill right now, which one would it be?
Oh, that's a really good question. Can I pick multiple?
Sure.
Yeah. Okay. I'll keep that to myself.
Okay.
I mean, I don't think any of them. I mean, I think one of them is going to listen to this, and the rest are not.
No,
but
for sure not.
I would not kill any of my siblings. I love them all in their own special, unique way. But there is a tier system. It's like your totem pole.
Yeah, for sure.
When you have that many, you're obviously going to be closer to others than you are.
Yeah. So, upon moving to Eau Claire, what was your you were what, 4-ish, 5-ish, or no?
No, that's we moved to Minnesota, so we
Okay.
lived there like 5. I moved here when I was like 8 or 9. to Eau
Okay.
Claire.
And how did you feel about having to move to Eau Claire?
I was fine with it because I didn't really have any friends. I was homeschooled my entire life, so we didn't really have any friends other than like 2 neighbor kids or some kids from church. But like the energy around moving was also really fast. It wasn't like, oh, we're thinking about moving and we're going to move in 6 months. It was like, we're moving in 30 days.
Yeah.
We're packing everything up. They have to find somewhere to live. So that's just how it went. It was nerve-wracking to move to a new town, but again, like I wasn't like I have to start at a new school because I didn't go to school. So it really was just moving home life to a different home life, and we moved into a bigger house that was in the country, so it was actually fun. I loved it because we had woods in our backyard, and I got to spend my time running through the woods like a maniac.
Did you like being homeschooled? What are your opinions on homeschooling?
You're surprisingly well adjusted for someone who's homeschooled for most of their life.
I'm much better than I was. Khloe can attest to the fact that I was a very awkward, secluded, little dorky teenager when she first met me.
How did you guys meet?
We'll get there.
Okay.
Well, let's take them on a journey.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
So homeschooling, it's hard if you've never been to a real school to like compare it to anything. So I really just compare it to like things I've seen on TV and TV shows. So I was always very jealous. I was very mad about being homeschooled growing up and like embarrassed by it. Like I remember when I was 15, I went to driver's ed for the first time. It was my first time in a classroom with other children or like other kids my age. And they would be like, oh, where do you go to school? And I just lied and told them I went to Durand. And then this girl was like, oh, I know someone from there. Do you know this guy? And I was like, oh, no, I've never heard of him. She's like, oh, it's not that big of a school. I'm surprised you don't know him. And I was like, I've never been in that school in my life. I just didn't want to tell them I was homeschooled. Didn't want them to think I was weird.
And you thought that was what was going to save you?
Yeah.
It really didn't.
Okay, yeah.
I think she still thought I was weird.
Yeah, she
Yeah.
definitely did.
She's like, well, if you don't know him, then you must be an idiot.
Was it really hard to hide your erection during driver's ed? Being around other kids for once?
I'm actually trying to remember. I don't think there was anyone hot in my class.
So I didn't ask that. Was it hard to hide your erection even with ugly kids in your
It's
class?
always hard to hide my erection.
Okay, so driver's ed was your first time in a classroom with other kids, huh?
Well, I've been to church, so I've had erections in public many times.
Yeah, that's true. I know it is something to see your dad on the pulpit. It just gets you hard right away.
Yeah, that's where it really got. Oh no, I used to get yelled at from the pulpit in church because I would just draw the whole time because it was so boring.
Yeah.
Like when you're like 5 years old, like sitting through like an adult service, oh my God, kill me now. So I just sit there and draw, and my dad would be up at the pulpit, like, Danielle, you put that right down and you pay attention. And I'd be like, oh my God.
During church service?
Up in front of everybody. It was so embarrassing.
No wonder he got run out of town. He was mean to his children.
He was mean to his children.
That's crazy. We had the like the hymnal books.
Yeah.
Did you guys have like the ribbon dividers?
Mm-hmm.
Ours had like the, like I don't know what it is, like the
Like a
plastic
book saver?
stuff. Yeah, but it was like the plastic stuff that like you do like like needlepoint or like crocheting on,
Yeah.
and then it had the ribbons, and I would always like thread the ribbons through as like my way to keep myself entertained during.
You know what's
especially
disgusting thing that I did when I was a kid at church? So we would do communion with we didn't do red wine because that was of the devil. So it would just be like grape juice. And they had those little cups.
Yep.
So after church, they had little holders in the pews. People would put them there. I would walk through all the pews to find anyone that had left any. And I would pour them all together into a cup and just drink it. Because I loved juice.
Yeah.
My mom wouldn't let us drink juice as a kid. So like that was the only day we got juice.
That's really sad. That's really
I'm so
making
sorry.
me sound
really,
like,
really
I'm
pathetic.
like Charlie in the Chocolate Factory, like just
Yeah.
living in a shack, drinking juice.
If you'd like
Church.
to donate some money to Amber for
Yes, please.
1, her therapy bill, and 2, so she could have juice, email us. We'll get the funds to her.
gmail.com.
Yes,
We'll
please
send you
do.
the GoFundMe link.
Yeah, just link my Venmo in this, and people can send me some monetary gifts.
Yeah. Okay. So homeschooled, lots of church time.
Oh yeah, back to homeschool. What was your question initially was? Oh, if I liked
Just
it.
like, yeah, what you thought of it.
Here's the thing. My parents are both idiots. First and foremost, I'm gonna say that if they listen to this, I'm sorry, but you guys are not the smartest people who I've ever met. So I literally went to school till I was 15, and then I got a job, and then I just stopped doing school.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't like my mom had 8 children, so she couldn't be on her ass. This is 24/7 to make sure we were doing our schoolwork. It was like giving us a book and be like, read this book, and I would just like say I read it, but I didn't.
I mean,
This explains a lot.
Yeah, that's why I'm so stupid.
clearly she did a decent job, because I think you're an intelligent person.
She didn't do a good job. My parents, we did go through a rich phase, which is so weird when you like grew up very, very poor and then we weren't rich, but we were well off. We were comfortable.
Okay.
I love when people say that. We were comfortable. But my dad is horrible with money. So when he had money, he spent every dollar. He got like 3 brand new vehicles, built a new garage, all new flooring in the house. Like he spent he got a $20,000 pool table just because he had the money. But during that time, they hired a private tutor because my dad worked and my mom was his administrative assistant at his office. So they both went to work. So they hired a private tutor for us, which sounds so bougie, but we did have a private tutor. And that's where I feel like I learned the most, because Jim Swanson, he is dead now, RIP. He was a great teacher, actually. He was very religious, but he was a great teacher. I do everything that I've learned, I feel like I got from him and his wife, Ruby. They were a very sweet couple. Ruby taught the younger kids. Jim taught the older kids, and she was such a sweet lady, the most frugal woman I think I've ever met in my life, because we would have a potluck at church every Sunday, and we would always stay there till like 5. Like after church, everyone would have lunch, and then the adults would sit and visit, and the kids would go outside and play. But we would have like the styrofoam plates for the potluck, and afterwards she would pull them all out of the garbage and wash them in the sink and take them home so that she could use them again.
I don't like that.
I don't like it either. It was like I would watch her and I'd be like, oh God, I hope I never become this woman.
You know what? And you are. But she probably watched you doing that with the juice cups and said, oh God, I hope I don't ever become this woman.
Oh no. I upgraded from there. I would take the little French vanilla creamers and I would just open them and eat the French vanilla. And they would have the apple cider packets, that you could like mix with water to make apple cider. And I would just drink it like a pixie stick. I loved sugar as a kid.
You still do.
And like when you grow up with 8 kids, when it comes to food in your home, it's like it's like a madhouse. Like you don't really have a lot. It's like whoever eats the fastest gets the mostest.
Yeah.
The old proverb. Yeah.
That's how it was when I was a kid too, because we had 5 of us.
So when I went anywhere where they had like extra food, I would just eat it. I would just, if it was sugar or anything, we didn't have a lot of like candy or snacks around my house. It was
Same.
like
That's why I'm
treat.
still dealing with what I'm dealing with today. I'm overeating and eating too fast and shit.
Same.
It's all
I
because of
literally
that.
have the biggest sweet tooth now. I always have candy in my cupboard, like multiple bags. Last year after Easter, it's very embarrassing, but I bought 20 bags of Starburst Favorites jelly beans the day after Easter when they went on sale for 50% off.
Yeah.
Because they're my favorite candy of all time. So I just stocked up.
Smart.
And what's the most embarrassing part is how shortly that supply lasted. I know what I'm trying to say.
I want to tell you, you're both very brave for sharing your stories with having eating issues. I've never personally dealt with anything, so I just thank you for being vulnerable with us about that.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I think our audience will relate, most of them, to that.
For sure.
there's a certain sect of us that will not relate to eating issues. So thank you for being brave with that admission.
Anything for you.
Brave admission. So you were homeschooled, mostly your siblings. Which one of your classmates did you have the biggest crush on?
Oh, so we're getting into that. So I started my sexual activity as a gay male adult, probably much younger than most, or maybe, I don't know. I guess I don't know. It was probably 13, if not 12, with the pastor's son at my church. And it was
Your
like
pastor, the dad.
My
so
brother.
yes, it was one of her siblings. That's what I'm trying to allude to.
No,
Yes.
this is a different pastor, not my dad. I'm not into incest
Anymore.
right now. Anymore. I do like the White Lotus, but I'm not into incest. So yeah, I guess I had a crush on him, but it was more like just like he wasn't even that cute. He was just like
available.
He was the only one who would show me his
sibling.
dick. So there was actually other guys on my church who were way hotter, but I was too awkward to like trick them into. I just had to go with with what's available.
Hey, I mean, we've all been there. Some of us are still there.
So where'd you suck his dick? There were multiple. Okay.
So it was the pastor's son. So they lived in the parsonage. It was actually the assistant pastor's son. I will just say we were having a sleepover at the church building on a Friday night. We were just hanging out in the back room of the church where they had like a TV and couches or whatever. And then my one friend fell asleep, and it was me and my other friend, and we just went around the church to like walk around and just talk and goof off. And then we went into the pastor's office and locked the door. And that's where it happened, was in the pastor's office.
All sexual activity happens in the churches, to be honest.
It really does.
People want to pretend that it doesn't.
I don't think I did anything in the church, but
You should
I
try it
would've.
sometime. It's really fun.
oh, I would.
Yeah.
Especially now as a Satanist, it'd be really fun for me.
You're a Satanist?
Yeah.
Oh my God. What does that mean?
What's the easiest way to explain Satanism?
Is it what Barbara is?
No, Barbara is a pagan. Probably.
And that's different?
Yeah.
Okay.
Pagan, you do magic. Satanism, it's atheism, but edgy.
Okay, you're both freaks, so. I'm just kidding.
Don't worry, Barbara's 19 episodes behind. She told me this morning,
she?
so it'll be a while till she gets to this one.
So she's listened to like 4 episodes.
Barbara, can you cast a spell on the podcast to make it more popular? Thanks.
Please help us, please. At what point in your life did you realize, like, clearly I'm different and have feelings, same-sex feelings, or things like that? Were you pretty obviously 12 is when you acted on that? Did you think about it before that, or was that kind of like a opening experience?
I would say, I mean, I didn't really even get the privilege of like discovering that I was different. I just feel like I was told that, like, ever since I was a little kid. Like, I was always teased. And in many ways, with the homeschooling thing, I feel like I was fortunate to not go to a public school, because I don't think that I would have had a good time there.
Yeah.
I don't know how I would have developed if I did go to a public school. It could have been a much different life for me, but I was just teased mercilessly just in the churchyard after church, or just from like my brothers and their friends. They would
What kind of things would they say to you?
fat, I mean, gay. Like,
Oh, okay. They went for
Like,
it.
oh, for it.
with my parents weren't around, they would use all kinds of words that they weren't supposed to. Not swear words, but they were like non-swear words. To religious people, they were non-swear words.
Yeah.
Other words.
Is there any certain sibling you would like to specifically call out?
Probably my older brother Luke was probably the most mean to me.
Well, Luke.
In his friends, he had like some like kind of cocky, jockey kind of friends that were just, because like I said, we would do church, we would have the potluck, and then everyone would go hang out outside, which most of the time involved playing sports. There was like a volleyball court and like a big field where they'd play baseball or football. I would participate because I didn't want to be left out, and I was the worst one. Like, I'm terrible at sports.
Yeah.
So I'll be the last to picked on teams, and they would just,
Do you think if you met a middle school chance, you would have sucked him off?
Yeah, probably.
I was skinny and hot back then, so probably.
I mean, I would have sucked anyone with a pulse back then. Like,
Fair.
Just ask my uncle.
We have. Here's a
He
special clip from
barely had a
Danny's
pulse.
uncle now.
Hello.
He's in full Miss Doubtfire drag, getting a Blumpkin, saying hello to you. Take a shot.
No, so like I I don't even know when I realized I was into boys, but I remember the first time I ever looked at porn was in my aunt's house because she had Wi-Fi. We lived in the country, so we didn't have Wi-Fi, but I had an iPod Touch. I was at my aunt's house, and I went into her bathroom, and I just searched naked men, and like it came up. I still remember the site. It was called UK Naked Men was the site, and I hit it, and the first front page was just like dicks everywhere. I was like, and I immediately got like bright red flush, like closed my phone, deleted I thought about throwing my iPod Touch away because I was like, I felt so corrupted.
Yeah.
I remember sleeping that I could not sleep that night because I was just thinking about the giant wieners that I saw on that website. I probably was like 11 or 12.
Yeah. And once you've seen that, there's no going back, is there? It's all you can think about when you've seen a big wiener.
I do. I think about UK Naked Men.
Yeah, clearly.
Do you think the site's still up?
Oh, I haven't searched it in a while, but I should check.
Yeah,
do you think
should.
UK Naked Men is still a site? Does anyone else have experience with UK? I think you had to like pay a subscription to like see the videos. You could like see the like a clip, like a 30-second like.
Well, the internet wasn't really around when I was a kid, so I did not have UK Naked Men. I had
your Playboys that your uncle gave you, which is
Well,
so
those-
convoluted and weird.
well, and they were.
Is that normal for straight people to just like give
I don't
their
think
children
I
like
don't
porn
think so.
magazines?
My aunt and uncle were very like sexually ahead of their.
Yeah, I feel like that's more like a 60s, 70s free love hippie revolution holdover.
Well, I don't think it was that. I think it was just that my aunt and uncle probably didn't have really good boundaries, and they were just like more worried about being friends than like actual parents to us. And so they were just like that. Plus, my aunt was featured in the Hustler episode
Centerfold?
with the beaver hunt, it was called, where you could send in your
screaming.
your own submissions of your
Like the back,
spread.
like the back corner, and people could send their own pussies.
Yeah.
UK Naked Men is still
Oh,
there.
okay.
By the
I'm gonna
way,
have to
We love that.
visit that
Peruse
site later.
I will controversially say I think it's somewhat weirdly enlightened for your uncle to have given you. It's weird, but it's also like
It is actually like,
it's.
I don't know if I would give my child porn, but like I would know that they're looking at porn.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Here's
And
two
I
things.
wouldn't stop it unless they were looking at something really fucking
It's
weird.
like the spirit of the right idea, but not the right idea itself. You know what I mean?
Two things. One, I have had a recent revelation from one of my cousins. I did their hair, and she told me that she remembers when we were little, my uncle specifically and my grandpa, the uncle that we got the porn from, talking about, like, they would always talk about how I was a different kid and would like draw pictures of like dresses and interior design. And so I think maybe part of it was he was giving me it to
try
maybe
to
try
straighten
and
you out.
straighten me out a little bit. But he also didn't just like be like, here's some hustler kid, go have a good time and jerk off. It was like he would have it in the house and like we knew where to find it. And he like, obviously your magazines are missing, so it's like, you know, it's the kid. So it wasn't like he was literally handing it to us. It was just like we had access to it and we would take it.
okay, I think the way you presented it made it sound like he gave it to you as a gift.
I agree.
No, it wasn't like a sorry.
That, like,
sorry.
like imagining like him just like here, and you're like, ah.
No, it would like, I mean, there would sometimes like he would look at it and it'd be on like a coffee table downstairs, but so like we would just take it. It wasn't, he was not presenting it like as a gift, but it was just available to us if we wanted it, clearly.
I think we should bring back porn mags.
I actually love that. I do have a story about a magazine. Like I said, I didn't have internet at my house or like Wi-Fi, so I didn't have access to like that kind of stuff as a kid. So I wanted a magazine, but I didn't know where to get anything like that. So the closest thing I could find was a Men's Health magazine, because they had like shirtless men in it. At least that was good enough.
My
So I
stepdad
bought
used
one
to
at
get those
Walmart.
too.
Yeah, they were good. So I bought one at Walmart and like hid it under my mattress. And one day, me and my brother were roughhousing somehow. I don't know why we were fighting, but somehow an arm went through a wall right next to my bed. So my dad came in and was like yelling at us. So he like grabbed my mattress and like pulled the mattress off to look better at this hole in the wall. And the magazine fell out. Back to what I said when my parents are both idiots. My dad looked at the magazine. He's like, "What is this?" And I was like, "People have been teasing me for being skinny. So I got a magazine to help me like do workouts." And he just believed it. He did like, he was so shocked when I came out. I was like, there was so many signs. That was one of them. And he accepted that as a excuse.
I mean, it was Men's Health. It's not like a scathing magazine. It's very normal. You're just
I
very
guess.
sheltered.
Maybe I'm just very sheltered.
Very sad.
But I think my parents just like didn't want to even like, there wasn't even their realm of possibility that any of their children would turn out gay. They didn't even think about it.
How old were you when you realized your life was pathetic?
I was pretty aware of that at a young age.
Okay, good. I just wanted to make sure that
Like I said, I was very embarrassed about being homeschooled, and like we were like a cult level of religion where we didn't even celebrate Christmas because it was Catholic, and my dad hates Catholics. So
Fair.
we would go to like our family Christmas in front of my extended family, and they'd be like, "Oh, what'd you get for Christmas this morning?" And I'd be like, "We don't celebrate Christmas." And they'd be like, "Oh, that's
You
so
poor
weird."
freaks.
It was like all my friends would get all of this cool stuff for Christmas, and I would get nothing because we didn't celebrate it. It was very embarrassing. So I knew we were weird. I grew up with I was very conscious of the fact that our family was weird. I didn't realize just how weird our family was until I got out of it, and now I'm looking back and I tell people, and they're like, just that face that Chance made was like, oh. Yeah, I get that reaction all the time when I tell them. I mean, I could go on and on about the weird things that happened.
Well, go ahead. We're giving you a platform to let us know.
I can't think of them all. But
Sometimes
I don't think that they're weird until I say them out loud. And I'm like, oh god, that was
And
so
then you see
fucking
the look
weird.
on people's faces.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, we brought you on today to make people feel better about themselves, especially.
Yeah, I feel like everyone is going to love their childhood after they listen to this,
Yeah.
or at least appreciate it more.
Yeah.
I won't say I had the worst childhood ever. Like we were a close family. My mom was a great mother. She was very loving. We did lots of stuff. My siblings and we had a great time together. I have a worse relationship with my dad. That was the hard part, but he was gone a lot or just off in his own world, so I didn't interact. I'm not going to sit there and say like I was an abused child in the corner or like locked in a cage. Like it was definitely weird. There was a lot of weird stuff going on.
Yeah.
So you sucked a dick when you were 12.
Yes, back to that.
When did you actually like come out?
So I came out when I was 18, like 3 months after I was 18. So right after I turned 18, well, I came out like to my family, but I had come out to my now sister Siren and a couple friends earlier than that when I had fully like accepted it. But the reason I came out to my family was actually because of this tattoo right here. When I was 18, I did the 18-year-old thing and was like, I'm my own person. I can make my own decisions. I'm gonna get a tattoo. And I hid it for 3 months. My mom saw it once. She goes, "You need to stop drawing on yourself." It's like, "Sorry, Mom." But then I told him that I got it, and my dad's initial thing, I said, I don't want you to be mad at me. Like, I just made this decision for myself because I wanted to, but I got a tattoo. He's like, "You either get that removed or you get out of my house forever." And I was like, "Okay, I'll get out of your house forever." But then he didn't end there. He turned it into a whole family meeting where we just talked about beliefs and where we were all at with everything. And that night, Siren, whose name at the time was Wes, was very defensive of me, and honestly, I probably couldn't have gotten through without her, but she came out first actually because we were just talking about everything. That night I think I came out, or I told them about that tattoo at like 8 o'clock, and we didn't go to bed till I think between 5 and 6 a.m. We were up talking all night.
Damn.
We both ended up coming out, and they were very upset about it. And they basically said, "You can stay here as long as you go to conversion therapy and start conversion therapy." So Wes agreed to go. I did not agree to go, but they were like, "You can stay as long as Wes goes and see how it is." So Wes actually went to a few sessions, but the whole time we were like, we're getting an apartment. We had signed a lease and were like trying to save up the money to get out. So we ended up living there a couple months after, but we did get kicked out like 2 weeks before we could move into, or maybe 10 days before we could move into our apartment. So we were technically homeless for 10 days. We stayed at a friend's house, but yeah, because we had gotten into a big fight, and that night we all went to bed, and then I went down to Wes's room, and we were just like chatting in our room about everything and bitching like I like to do. And I guess my mom came down in the middle of the night and was like ear to the door listening to what we were saying and was very upset. So the next morning my dad woke me up and said, "You have till this time to pack your stuff and go." And then he was like, you can't take anything. You just have to leave." So I said, "No, I'm going to take everything I bought," because I had had a job since I was 15. So everything in my room I had bought, because I was very into interior design. So I bought all my furniture and everything and all my clothes. And he was like, "Nope, you can't take it." And I was like, "Well, if you don't let me take it, I'm going to call the police." And he's like, "Well, what are you going to tell them?" And I'm going to tell him that you hit us as a kids.
Yes.
He's still pressed about it to this day.
Yeah.
Is he?
So pressed. He did. So I wasn't lying. I didn't make it up. But he was like, "Just take whatever you want. Just get out now."
Yeah.
So we left, and then we didn't talk for years after that.
Cool.
Does anyone else feel depressed? Cool. It's all like very traumatic and everything, but it was 11 years ago now at this point. So I've really moved on with my life, and I do see them on occasion and talk to them here and there. But for the most part, like, I do not spend any part of my life like thinking about them. I talk about them when people ask, but like, I don't know. I've moved on and like accepted that I don't have that part of my life is gone, and I've started a new part of my life. Like, I'm sitting here on Mother's Day with Khloe because Khloe has been more of a mother to me over the past 10 years than my own mother has. Mother. She's giving very mother.
No, I think it's really great. I think your story is great in showing perseverance through difficult situations, and then just also like taking a situation that could be really terrible and easy to feel, I don't want to say victim, but like that's just a word that comes to mind. But like, you could choose to be victimized by that situation, but you haven't. You've chosen to rise above it and truly like, you're kind of living, I feel like, your dream, like what you wanted, and you're getting what you want out of life. And that is really great, and shows that like, even as a small town queer person that has had to go through some difficult situations, you've made your way through it and have worked it, and now you cross-dress for attention. And I still think you have a lot to unpack from this, but you know,
very. I have to get attention from somewhere, so I just get it from cross-dressing now.
Hi, it's me, Chance. Just wanted to pop in and say that we had so much fun talking with our dear friend Amber Hudson that we recorded for almost 2 full hours. So we've made the decision to split this into 2 parts. Part 2 will be out next Friday. Tune in then when we talk about Amber's drag career, how she met Khloe, how much of a mess she was, all the fun stuff. In the meantime, you can find her on Instagram, TikTok, all the social medias at The Real Amber Hudson. And I suppose I can do our outro now. Let's see if I can do this off the top of my head. Small Town Big Gays is hosted by Travis Gorell and me, Chance Smith, who also does all the production and editing. Our music is 1am by TYB. You can check out his music by visiting the links in the episode description. Follow us on social media at STBG Pod on everything. Find our personal social medias in the episode description. Email us, smalltownbiggays@gmail.com. Ask Khloe a question. Tell us how bad we are. Yada, yada, yada. And go to strangehavens.com for more.
It's been nice to